Welcome to the astrology report of January 22nd through to the 28th, 2024. It's quite a week. We've got a lot of changes in the sky, guys. We got Venus moving into Capricorn on the 23rd, where she's getting out of her longer journey through the sign of Sagittarius the 3 weeks before that. We also have some energy going on here that's very good for all of us. It's full of flow, full of ease, and a kind of way to get things done in a very optimistic, perseverant way, and also some goodness regarding perhaps your wealth, your resources, and just being able to get some lift off there as well. And that's a Saturn Jupiter story, as well as at the end of the week, especially around Thursday through to Sunday, we begin to experience Mars coming into a conjunction with Mercury in the sign of Capricorn. But more importantly, Mars is also becoming visible around the 27th of January. And that's a big deal. That's Mars rising in the morning sky just at dawn, just before the sun rises, barely visible, but rising into visibility after being invisible for about 4 months. And the last time Mars rose here was 1977, and it's going to change each of our lives and our Capricorn zone of influence for the next 2 years in a positive way, because he is indeed exalted here. Now, I'm not going to dive into that for the week ahead because I'm doing a whole separate video for that. You're receiving this video Monday, and probably the Mars rising video will be coming out shortly after, perhaps on Wednesday or Thursday. So get ready for that big, long, deep dive video into the Mars rise in Capricorn for your sign, because, it's going to be important. It's really something, unless you're alive and remember what happened January of 77 to 79, you won't have this again, probably in your lifetime. So please hit the bell for notifications, like, subscribe, so you don't miss that video coming out probably on Thursday in the week of ahead. Also, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothy, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses. I love the fixed stars and minor asteroids. I try to involve all of those elements in each of my videos. And why do I do this for you? I really am trying to help you time your own best life using astrology as a navigational tool, which is what it is and can be for each of us. All right, so the week ahead, let's dive in, and we'll be doing your sign. In the beginning of most of my videos, I do what's called mundane astrology, which is simply I like to talk about how this applies to world events. So maybe bringing some of that up as well. I will be showing you the chart and the sky too. Oh, I'm going to just pause the recording for a split second. Give me a minute. Yeah, I'm back. I had that really weird white bar over here, that I realized the graphic had a bit of white space, so I just fixed it. Okay, so here's the thing. Basically Monday, let's just talk. I'm going to talk you through it, and then we're going to look at the sky together. On Monday, we're still feeling Pluto-Sun conjunction in Aquarius, right? That really kind of kicked in on Saturday, which would have been the two planets at 0 degrees of Aquarius after being together at 29 degrees and 59 minutes of Capricorn. I did a big video on this energy because it's so important as Pluto goes back into Aquarius and is going to activate your axis of, or your trigon or trine of superpowers over the next 20 years. And so please check that video out. It's doing really well. Just go to my channel, go see the playlist for all the Pluto and Aquarius content that I created this year and last year. But we're still feeling it Monday, right? Monday, you're getting the vibe. It's still there. You're feeling the Pluto-Sun conjunction in Aquarius, but it wasn't a perfect conjunction. I keep wanting to stress that. I mean, Pluto and the Sun cohabitated the 0 degree of Aquarius, but they never reached a perfection of a cazimi or conjunction. So, but they're there together. And on Monday, we still feel the lingering effects as the sun is at about 2 degrees of the sign of Aquarius, and Pluto, of course, is still sitting and hatching something up on the 0 degrees. So keep in mind that this energy that we all are experiencing, this Pluto Aquarius new energy ingress, is very tangible and very physically felt still on Monday. And for some of you, it could be like very empowering, especially the Aquarians, especially the Gemini rising and the Libra rising. You're going to trine energetically to this. And I did a whole video in 2023 about your Pluto generation and how it impacts you. Please go check the playlist. And so you guys are really feeling maybe a sense of stepping into your big girl, big boy panties and boots and kind of owning the space of where you can dominate and be dominant in a sense of purposeful control and power, especially regarding the word career. I'll use me just as an example. I'm recording this on Sunday, the 21st for my Patreon community. Early access, ad free, yada, yada. And I had this situation today where I had the decision that I would maybe just refund a client for a session that I wasn't able to attend. And, that's coming to a new sense of purposeful power for me in a situation where normally I would go bending over backwards to make sure this thing could work. And I'm kind of, my time is important, my energy is important. And if I can't reschedule, I'll just refund that person. So this kind of energy is going to be applying in a positive way to empowering the Aquarians, of course, in the Gemini and the Libra rising most specifically. So see how you feel Monday into Tuesday as this kind of being the dominant power force of your purpose and career, because Sun Pluto is really opening up for you already. And other signs feel a bit differently in different ways. But let's just go with the ones that for whom it flows at this juncture. Because, for example, you Leo and you Scorpio and you Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising people may feel a little bit more grit, per se, on Monday and Tuesday. Now, as we go forward in the week, I want to also note, well, before I move away from that story, on Monday, we have the moon trundling through the sign of Leo. And where I normally I am not like so focused on the lunar events. Oh, not Monday. Sorry. I apologize. Not on Monday. On Monday, I'm going to cue my chart that I'm looking at to tell you what I see. Yeah, on Monday, we have the moon trundling through the sign of Gemini in a flow to the Pluto and the sun conjunction. So, or broad conjunction. So there's a feeling of emotional satisfaction on Monday. You could even feel this into late Sunday, early Monday, depending where you live. Emotional satisfaction around a newfound sense of power and empowerment, especially for all of you air signs. Now, as we move forward, and we look at Tuesday through Friday, there's something really interesting happening in the sky. Maybe I will show this to you in a minute because I really just want to have you focus on what I'm saying. And don't forget, if you are new to my channel, a little thing I forgot to mention, my 2024 videos are going to end, the sale ends on January 31st. So if you want to grab that, you're going to get like 12 videos. Each one of them is 90 minutes long on average. And you get to listen for your sun, moon, and rising, share with friends and family. That's my yearly fundraiser to buy my mic, get my timestamp, or hire video editors, things like that, so that I can support the growth of this business and this channel. So if you want that content of a deep dive into all the months of 2024, please check the link below, because it will move from $59 to $79 on February 1st. And you won't see that $59 price again, I promise you. All right, so back to the sky. Now, Tuesday through Friday, there's something that almost but not quite happens. And a lot of astrologers don't seem to want to mention the lack of a perfection or a partile sextile between Saturn and Jupiter. So Jupiter is in Taurus moving direct. Saturn is in Pisces moving direct. And they're both like 5 and 6 degrees of these signs. And basically, the faster moving planet Jupiter in Taurus is forming the sextile to Saturn and Pisces, but it never becomes perfect, ever. And this kind of perfection of a degree and minute based sextile between Jupiter and Saturn did happen last June, on June the 19th, with Jupiter in Taurus and Saturn in Pisces. So we did have it before. We had it in 1964 as well. So if you consider how rare this is, and it'll be, I think it's 2040 the next time it happens, it's not the same as a perfection. So because what you can get from this energy is like a kind of cautious and steady and perseverant Saturnian discipline around projects and optimistic ideas and hopeful, faithful, perseverant, optimistic things that can occur, right? But on the other hand, you may not see it really, really show up the way everyone's delineating. It's kind of like good but not great, almost but not quite. So yes, opportunity that has lasting value. These are Saturn, Jupiter sextile things. Positive developments regarding business and wealth projects that you're managing because of the Taurus earth-based energy. Things to do with the ability to stabilize some kind of long-range goal in a significantly positive way. And it kind of gives you a temperament this week. We all have it, of things being sturdy and solid, but good and reliable and positive and hopeful. So yeah, the vibe permeates the world. I use this in my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, though, of where we may see the good but not great. For example, Jupiter rules justice and law and legal matters and truth and wisdom. and law and courts, that kind of thing. And Jupiter is going to flow to Saturn, which is institutions like governing bodies, governments, including the United Nations, including the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. Everyone's on bated breath to see if there's going to be some word this week about what is there going to be a ceasefire mandated by the ICJ, or at least attempted to mandate, in order for the charge of South Africa towards Israel to be figured out in the long years and years and years of the question and the answer around the word G, right? I'm not going to say that word on this channel, that South Africa has accused Israel of in its war in the Middle East. So bottom line, I think we're going to get a result this week, right? Saturn, governing body, ICJ, Justice, Jupiter, but we're not going to like it, or we're not going to be satisfied. It'll be disappointing in some way, elusive or disappointing, because there's not going to be that perfection, that like actual real perfect 60-degree connection between Saturn and Jupiter. So there you go. But if you go back to June 19th last year, 23, in your Taurus and Pisces real estate, you did have a perfect sextile in this part of your sky. And you might want to go back and think about what that felt like at that time. All righty. And if you're alive in 1964, there was another such thing. Perfect sextile between Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Taurus, both moving direct. All right. Now, what I want to talk about next as this week progresses, I'm going to back it up a little bit and talk about Venus on Tuesday moving into Capricorn. There is a video coming out on Tuesday about that. So the day after today, you're getting this on Monday for the first time. You may want to listen to that, because Venus in Capricorn is going to join everybody there. It's going to be a little bit of a party as she gets into the place where Mercury and Mars are sitting. And so Mercury, Mars, and Venus together in Capricorn is going to have a lot of intense energy for all of those people who are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo in this week ahead, starting on Tuesday. That feels very good. Feels really good for your resources, your money, consolidating and sticking the landing on love stories. You guys all flow to this narrative, right? It's going to feel positive for you. And it's going to also feel positive for people with Aquarius and, not Aquarius, with Pisces and Scorpio sun, moon, or rising as well. So you kind of feel a lovely feeling as Venus enters into the sign of Capricorn on Tuesday, and will stay there for 3 weeks. But because she's also joining the party of an exalted Mars in Capricorn, Mercury, there's a lot of juicy energy going on in a positive way in your Capricorn part of your sky. One of the whole sign houses. I will do videos in 2024 about why I like whole sign houses, why Placidus doesn't work for me. I'll also do a lot of content that's going to be evergreen to teach you things, because I have more time and less clients this year, and I'll have more time to create that content. But if you want to cast your chart in whole sign houses, check my description box below for the free tutorial, because it is literally going to change your reality. And when you listen to these YouTube videos, it's as if most astrologers, minus Annie Botticelli, are talking to you as if we're talking whole sign houses in order to make simplified general bell curve delineations. Okay. Next, one sign, one house, not like, oh, intercepted and I got 2 signs in one house. None of that stuff already. Now, moving forward, we get to the sort of Wednesday through Sunday. We begin to feel Mercury closing in on Mars and finally conjuncting Mars. Now, Mercury-Mars conjunctions are their own separate thing. It's like powerful, news about war, conflict and rebellion news stories, things to do with powerful, heroic actions that we all are learning about, hearing about. Mercury just often represents our news cycle. When Captain Sully Sullenberger landed on the Hudson River with a plane full of souls, that is classic exalted Mars in Capricorn, or he could have been in Sag, but the vibe with a Mercury, like, here's the news, you got to hear what happened. This is amazing. It can be very heartfelt. We get some very heartfelt, heroic stories breaking for all of us Wednesday through Sunday in the collective sphere, where it lifts us up a bit. Because, when Mars was in Capricorn in 2021, December, January, we had the truckers movement worldwide protesting vaccine mandates, right? And basically that began in Canada, but Mars was trundling through Capricorn. Mars, airplane driver, truck driver, heavy equipment operator, Capricorn, exalted, super powered. And we saw a worldwide trucker movement kick in. So, but now we're seeing Mars here with Mercury. Again, those kinds of heroic, big, bombastic news stories could be flying through the sky. And given that there's a trine to Uranus, freedom, rebellion, iconoclasm, rule-breaking energy, we may see some really intense protest arising global public protests, perhaps about wars, etc., going on in our news cycle Wednesday through Sunday that reach a new threshold or level compared to what we've been seeing already. Finally, Mars is rising, okay, into visibility according to astronomers. That's where I'm getting my data, around the 27th of January. And that's going to be around 17 degrees of Capricorn. And that's going to be extremely powerful. It's trining Uranus, okay, but it's squaring the nodes of fate, squaring Chiron. I'll be doing that deep dive video. We don't have time to cover the intensity, the intricacy, and the importance of this in a weekly video. So today, I rather would focus for each of you on the fact that we have that sextile between Saturn and Jupiter this week and how it might play out for your sign in its good but not great delineation. I hope that works for you, and we're going to get going on the all signs. Now, before I do your sign, reminding you of one thing, and I'll show you the chart. Your sun is your career and purpose and father figures. Your moon, your mother figures. Home, safety needs, maybe the body, emotional comportment, how you feel about things. Your rising sign is everything about you. So if you know your rising sign, start there. Then you can listen to the other two parts of the reality, right? And in India, they'd say, listen to your moon sign no matter what. And when we say listen to your sun sign, we're treating it like it's on the ascendant, as if the sun sign is the ascendant sign, right? So that becomes similar. We're just using it's like in a, we're perfecting it we're moving it forward from the first house. Same with the moon sign. All right, so let's get going. Let's get showing you the sky. Let's go through the all signs. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you're in a live premiere, especially, do hit that like button, help the channel grow. And if you haven't tried my channel out, please do. I do put out, like, I don't know, last month, 30 videos, and I'd love to have you aboard. And you can also check out my Patreon community, early access, ad-free content. All the information is in the more button. Click it underneath this video. All right, so here we have Aries. It's pinned, meaning it won't move away from Aries right now. It's pinned to Aries. Just watch the sky with me, please. And then we'll do the all signs. So we can see on Monday that we have that Pluto conjunction here, almost 2 degrees sun to Pluto, as it is flowing as well in a whole sign flow to the moon on Monday. And that kind of energy continues this, to invigorate and enliven us on Monday. And we feel a sense of emotional satisfaction, maybe emotional power even during the whole of Monday. And so there's a sense that Monday offers a good feeling for a lot of us, especially, as I said, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. These are flowing energies or conjunctions energies to this energy of the moon trine Sun and Pluto. And also reminding you that if you have a flowing energetic to this Pluto Sun combination with your rising sign in Sag or your rising sign in Pisces, in Aries. Did I say that right last time? Aries, it also feels very good. I hope I did. I think I did. Okay, and then as we move forward into the week ahead, watch the sky. See, Venus is at 28 degrees, 56 minutes on Monday in Sag. But by the time we get to Tuesday, the 23rd, she's bumped her little butt into Capricorn, and she really opens up a little festive party here. It's really great for you Capricorns especially, but also you Tauruses and you Virgos. You might want to get more refined, more beautiful. You want to bring some kind of, lasting pleasure into your life. You might want to increase your sociability, in general, but it's a good feel when Venus joins any party, and she's coming into a party that involves Mercury and Mars. And maybe that is also good news about some kind of truce or ceasefire, or at least the ICJ mandate for such a thing. A temporary ceasefire. We'll see what happens. Friendliness and peace treaties belong to Venus. So who knows? We could have something going on here. She is in this part of the sky on Tuesday, Wednesday, squaring Libra, which is the place of Israel's ascendant. So there may be a forcing in Israel's hand through other governing bodies or institutions, Capricorn, to get some kind of peace thing going in this part of the sky. But we don't know if it's going to be good or great, because I don't like that Saturn failure to perfect. Saturn with Jupiter, right? 5 and 6 degrees this week does not come into perfection. So I want you to watch that part of the story next. So here's Saturn. Let me circle him. Let's annotate Saturn, because this is going to be what we do for all signs. Here's Saturn, and here's Jupiter. and the space between them is almost 60 degrees, right? That's called a sextile. It's the nature of Venus. It brings luck, ease, flow, grace. I always jokingly call this "that was easy." You know, that old button used to pop, "that was easy," and it would say those words, a desk button, "that was easy." That's kind of what sextiles are like. That was easy. All right, but they don't get perfectly easy because they don't perfectly align. So even on January 23rd, which is Tuesday, you're feeling that they're trying to make a perfection here, but they never will. And all the way through to Friday, even Saturday, they keep like talking to each other without perfecting. It's almost like when you have a phone call and you can hear each other, but the line keeps cutting out, or the Zoom call keeps, the thing in Zoom, right, is like, I can't hear you, your mic is off, and then I hear you again, or the internet connection is all wobbly. That's very much the vibe here in the way this doesn't exactly fulfill its promise. It's not perfect, basically. And you might note that on Tuesday, the moon will move here to 7 degrees of Cancer. And that creates what's called a mini grand trine. And that is very positive. Although, again, nothing is perfect between these two. We still feel this energy of a mini grand trine coming through on Tuesday. The moon is in her home kingdom. She's very powerful in her temple, the lunation, the moon in the temple of Cancer. We have Jupiter in the Taurus kingdom here, in a broad trine to Venus. We'll be doing more about the Venus trine Jupiter next week. And here we have, so Venus is looking fondly on Jupiter, and Saturn in Pisces, which is Jupiter's sign. Well, I'd say something like this on Tuesday for most of us. Maybe we're going to feel a sense of blessed relief, ease, flow, and grace, genuine emotional satisfaction about long-term projects and long-term deliverables coming to fruition, a little bit of abundance and prosperity peeking out for us in the Taurus part of our chart, and also a sense of being very perseverant in a step-by-step manner to get something accomplished that deeply satisfies you. So, I mean, I'm going to be finishing my 2024 February all signs videos on Tuesday, and that probably will feel like a great sense of accomplishment. Okay. Now, finally, get rid of the annotation and the last story before we do your sign, clear all drawings. As we move towards the weekend, and you'll notice that we're going to do that now. I'm still on Tuesday, the 23rd, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now here we are on Friday, the 26th of January in my time zone, adjust for your own time zone. On Friday, what we end up seeing here is that we get this energy of Mars and Mercury getting almost ready to make a perfect conjunction. So you're really feeling it Thursday as well, just so you know. And they're kind of getting ready to move in on the 27th, Saturday, to a 17-degree Capricorn conjunction on the very day that Mars is apparently astronomically visible in some places in the world, according to astronomers. So this visibility is important. Last time Mars was visible was 1977 January as a rising to visibility in the sky in Capricorn. And so this is accompanied by a sea change of some powerful shift for you and me and the world in the part of the sky represented by Capricorn over the 2 years that follow. It's not just this February 27th, but rather through the 24 months that follow, there's a huge amount of exalted Mars energy applying to the Capricorn part of reality for the world and for your sky. Of course, Mars is a warrior, and Mars is also an advocate, champion, and hero. Mars is meaning direction, and a direction you go in. It's powerful passion and willpower, personal willpower, and decision-making. Because Capricorn rules all the institutions we love to hate. We love to hate Wall Street. We love to hate governments and ruling bodies. We love to hate institutions that control. We love to hate the dark side of Capricorn that happened when Pluto moved through here, the Me Too movement, the scammy stuff, the Epstein and the what's the other guy's name? Harvey Weinstein stories, the darker side of stuff that can go to Capricorn when power is tyrannical and dictatorial and control and money are all entwined. For example, who owns Congress? Not the public, right? But lobbyists who bought out various senators and congressmen in order to get their way for war machinery, for pharmaceuticals, for whatever vested interests have vested interest in. when something like almost 70% of the US population now in certain polls are showing that they wish to have a ceasefire yesterday already, when Biden is tossing the election because he's no longer going to make it with the bailing of the Muslim vote or the Islamic vote, and also the bailing of almost anybody under the age of 30 from the Democrat Party, because they're absolutely horrified by the complicity of the US government and what's going on in the Middle East. You're looking at Capricorn stories. Just listen if you can, you probably unsubscribe, but if it's not clear to most of us that one of two things is happening, then we are naive, right? Either there is an economic or financial stake in GAZA becoming obliterated so that it can be rehabbed to create like the Ben Gurion Canal. Go Google it. Or to take the gas fields off of GAZA and use them for Western purposes. Or there is some kind of blackmail or extortion going on from one government to another, right? So the impotency and paralysis of the Biden administration in what is happening in the world right now in the Middle East, while they're also sending a lot of money and weapons that way, with no contingencies, no rules, no red lines, bypassing the normal State Department rules and congressional approval for emergency use. What's the emergency? Nobody's attacking the United States. So if you think about this, and I'm apolitical on this in the sense I live in Canada, I do not vote in your country, in the United States, for you, my American listeners, nor am I particularly any party, even in Canada. I'd be probably closer to a libertarian if I had any kind of stance politically. And yet anyone who has eyes to see and ears to hear can notice that basically something is amiss here. There's something going on that doesn't make sense, and therefore you have to look beyond the surface of a story and ask yourself what is really happening. And the reason I'm talking about that is because Mars, conjunct the god of the news cycle, Mercury, in a trying to shock and awe Uranus and rebellion Uranus. This is going to be indicating maybe a 2-year window of time that is incited this end of January, last 2 years, where you're going to see a lot of more than trucker protests. You're going to see mass rebellion on mass rebellion as Mars becomes a visible planet. That is very much what I think may be going on here. And because you have as well a square to the nodes of fate, and this will be in my Mars rising video at 18 degrees of Libra, and this is where eclipses are happening, 18 degrees of Aries, right? With the wounded healer here. Chiron was the mentor of healers and heroes of the ancient world. When he mentored the heroes, he mentored Achilles and Hercules. And we told them never kill unless you have to, never shoot an animal unless it's attacking you, unless you need to eat. It was all about noble, conflict, noble war, noble huntering, and here we have this kind of chironic element in Aries, a sign of war, on the north node, inflammation of war, and it's squaring what seems to be a rebellious Mars, because of the trine to Uranus, wishes to accomplish. So we're going to see a lot of disturbance in the field of reality over the next 2 years. What I would guess here is going to be something akin to a huge upswell of grassroots protest movements. And we'll see something that looks a lot like the Woodstock, Haight-Ashbury 60s. We're already seeing it as an echo of the past. Now, your own life is not a rebellion. Your own life is something else. So we're going to talk about your sign just for this week, and we're going to talk about that ongoing Tuesday through to even Saturday feeling that why can't Saturn get in a decent conversation with Jupiter? This is like ridiculously impossible. They keep trying. By the time we get to Sunday the 28th, we have Saturn at 6 degrees and Jupiter at 6, but it's 2 degrees, 2 minutes, 6 degrees, 2 minutes, and Jupiter at 6 degrees, 56 minutes. And then when you move to Monday, Jupiter's at 7 degrees and Saturn's way behind in the dust now at 6 degrees. And this is going to be a non-event that way, but it still has a nice flow. I want to share with you for your sign how you can use this, but I also want to remind you that it's good, not great, close, but not almost but not quite perfect. Okay, so there's something about that you might want to be on the ball to notice, really on the ball. When I mentioned the whole idea of rebellion, mass protests and stuff, if you go as far as the 29th, which is the day of the week is the 29th, Monday, the 29th in my time zone of January, you'll notice that the moon for that time frame on the 29th will be trying to form a grand Earth trine to rebellious Mars and Uranus, Jupiter here, and then the moon in Virgo. Again, the moon can represent the populace, the people, and the masses, and many other things. We'll be doing that next week on Monday's video. Okay. So I'm going to pause this, stop the recording to change the background until so I can advance the chart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, try me out, hit the bell for notifications. You know, that helps my channel grow. Share this video if you like, and check my description box for everything I'm going to say. I think I've got like smudge on my camera. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the video. If you have anything to say to me in the comments, everybody, and it's not a trolling comment, please do. Otherwise, you know, you can find your inner joy somewhere else. Thank you to all my regulars, Boiling Frogs, Misbehaving, L.A. Taylor, Psychic Readings with Rose, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Michael Thrash, Serge LaBelle, Ace of Spades, Crystalline Alchemist, Herbal Empress, and more. Thank you for being a part of my regular crew that attends all of the premieres, or many of them with me, and we discuss the content in real time together. When I say trolling, sometimes I look at stuff, I don't know if I should delete trolls or not, what to do with them, but like someone said something about my clown makeup the other time. I hardly wear any makeup. Like, I hardly wear any makeup. If I'm doing a YouTube video for you guys, I just put a foundation kind of BB cream on that like takes away the red zones of my face, put some lipstick on, and I got a little flick here and a little flick here with sometimes mascara, sometimes not. And I'm like, something like good clown makeup on my Pluto video. And I'm like, really? Really? I think I'm one of the people who has the least makeup on YouTube land. And I'm like, why? Like, what was that? Like, what? And I'm not complaining. I know I'm sharing this with you. I'm personalizing it all. But you guys try being out there in YouTube land and putting yourself out on the amount of content I put out. And every now and then it just wears away at you. It grinds you down, right? When you get these kinds of stupid ad hominem comments that give no value add to the dialogue. Just want to point that out. And so if you have something to say, like a question or a comment or a reflection on this content, I read every single one of my comments. I don't have an assistant doing it. If you get a heart, it's for me. If you get a comment back, it's for me. If you get a like, it's for me. So if you're going to take time to comment, please bring something to the conversation rather than simply being gnarly, grumpy, attack oriented. All right. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the story and we'll get into the all signs portion of our reading. All righty. Okay. So we're going to start, of course, with Aries, and then we're going to go through the zodiacal signs in order. This is not a long video. Usually the weeklies are about, so you know what's ahead, about no more than an hour at the most. And give me a second here. And we want whole sign houses. Why? Because it allows me to advance the chart using this software. When I don't put it in whole sign houses, it doesn't advance. And therefore, yeah, we're stuck on pinned to the Aries point. All right. And here we go. And no, we won't start there. So I'm in Aries. I have a sun, moon, and Mercury there in my third house. And I totally jive with the Aries vibe. So when I do Aries, I'm often like quite excited because I think of myself. So here we go. So Aries, sun and moon and rising sign. It looks to me like what's going on here, and don't forget Aries, you've got the brunt of an eclipse cycle going through your sky all the way through to like 2025 in Aries. So you're going through a lot of personal transmutation and change. But one of the things I want to point out about this week is that not only does Venus go into your 10th house and really light you up there and begin to give you some kind of superpowered glow up. Let's move back to the beginning of the week. Superpowered glow up here in your 10th house. We get you 3 weeks of popular appeal, public appeal, get raises, get promotions, have fun, enjoy the work, enjoy the colleague, coworker space, perhaps. It's just a nice career glow up 3 weeks that happens right now, starting on January 23rd. And check that video coming out on Tuesday about all signs, Venus and Capricorn. But also you're going to sense here that you're trying to pull off something that Jupiter wants you to do financially. This is usually in earnings and resources houses, or it could be about curtailing or changing the way you eat food in a positive way for yourself that brings more vitality and health. Food, substances that go in your mouth. And this flow to Saturn doesn't quite perfect. Now, funny enough, the teeth and the jaw happen to also be second house matters. And I think I have a dentist appointment I'm going to have to cancel. So like the lack of perfection of dental work that I might need to do, Saturn rules the teeth, because it's going to be confining, what do you call it? It won't work for some other scheduled event. So I'll have to postpone that. So that's a very clean and clear example. At a deeper level, however, Saturn up here is really offering a lot of Aries a chance to sage wise up, to really go inward, contemplate your navel, ask yourself what you need to get rid of in your life. He's going to ask this question until February of 2026. It's very spiritual, contemplative, inner work. And if Saturn's going through your 12th house, he can also offer you stability and long-term income sources like resiliency and structure in long-term income from international companies, foreign shores, foreign lands, and foreign revenue. In modern world, we use PayPal, Stripe, and it's not so difficult. We can do borderless income, but you're trying to get something off in the borderless income and earnings, food style and food changes, maybe wisdom, knowledge, and sagacity through speech or something like that. And nothing's quite gelling yet, and you want it to gel so badly. So how would I go about handling this? I mean, I'd say you can do certain things here that Jupiter would be able to accomplish regarding an earnings increase or regarding a very positive new style of digesting food or whatever, but it's not going to be the final answer, right? Is that your final answer in the game show? No, it's not, but you're moving in the right direction, but it's not your final answer yet regarding those matters. And, we won't be going into, of course, I already said this Mars conjunction rising, but just know over the next 2 years, starting January 27th, you're going to kill it in your career space. I cannot wait to share the details of how successful you'll be financially and your career and reputation in the 2 years that follow, although you may change the way you do your career in a very significant way, but it will be very successful. Please like and subscribe, because the angular signs do not want to miss the Mars rising story in my long video on that, or my Mars rising webinar. Check the description, check my box below for more. Oh, really? Lori's having tech issues again. Moving into Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. For you guys, this is an energy this week ahead where you see that on Tuesday, Venus begins to glow up your 9th house of higher education. And honestly, this might just feel really wonderful for you regarding success, getting a university acceptance, applying for your ideal school, getting a great grade in higher educational settings. It's really also great for opportunities for foreign travel in the 3 weeks that follow this Tuesday's ingress of Venus here into the sign of Capricorn, your 9th house. Also good for legal outcomes, especially with warrior Mars and then Venus saying peace treaties, negotiations, settlements, and agreements working out, as also getting visas if you need them for passports finally also happening. Now, one thing I'd say is Venus flows towards your Taurus identity, and so therefore you're just feeling good. You're going to start to feel really good this Tuesday, add 3 weeks. Your life takes a turn for the better, and your health and your well-being is going to increase in the next 3 weeks as well. As we move towards this close but not quite energy of the sextile forming between Jupiter in Taurus and Saturn in Pisces, which really dominates the week. You can say that it's really in play, Tuesday through to Sunday, but it never gets perfect. You're really trying to make something gel, something really come together in a lasting, enduring, positive way to do with your body, your health, your identity, your the way you want to expand your sense of what's hope, silver lining rainbows after the silver lining rainbows, light at the end of the tunnel, faith, hope, and optimism. And Saturn's trying to help you do that from the house of your significant relationships that are friendships, or your elder sibling relationship, or you were talking about 11th house stuff, or even career gains. Like Saturn wants to stabilize your greater career gains, maybe your earnings, your income, your success, and Jupiter wants you to feel good about it and bounteous, and yet it doesn't quite come together. The solution isn't there. Jupiter brings solutions. The solution isn't there. I mean, maybe you're feeling there's a lot of hard-ass grind going on in order to attain career gains, in order to connect with your larger social groups and friendships and networks, in order to realize a goal or dream, a vision for your life. And your vision boards are just sucking and nothing's happening because Saturn is compressing you in your 11th house. And Jupiter wants you to be optimistic about what's possible. Well, making your dreams come real, right? Saturn, Neptune until 2026, February. But this week you think you're almost there, but you're not quite there. So again, a little disappointment, a little bit of elusivity around, you thought maybe you could pull something off here. You could get that raise or promotion. You could get that friend to help you. You could get that elder person, Saturn, to lean towards you in a positive way, to be of assistance, and nothing quite came together or will come together. Still, you can use it. It's good for getting some, really good results in social groups and larger groups of belonging, right? If you wanted to go to the homeowners association and, speak your mind or share your ideas or whatever, if you wanted to go into a group setting for something, you could have some powerful results this week, but it's not as good as you wanted it. That's basically what I'm saying. And finally, we know with Mars rising in your 9th house, higher education, foreign lands, foreign shores, travel, book publishing deals, publications. Someone gnarly trolled me that I'm always saying book publishing and it's my filler. No, it's a 9th house delineation. I don't say it for every sign. You can tell that right now in the sky, I've got a gnarly, thing going on because I'm really irritable with the trolls. All right. I don't have filler. I have specific content relative to the meaning of a sign, right? Or a house. And this is a house, the 9th house, publications. Yeah. So you may have something going on here over 2 years. And we'll dive into it in the Mars rising video. We can have a great deal of success in the word publications, foreign countries, foreign shores, spiritual belief, court and legal matters. 2 years, success. Okay. Mars rising here. Hey, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. I'm going to be cheerful for you. I have a progressed sun in Gemini. So my progressed sun, my career, Gemini, I can relate. Well, okay. So Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Basically, you do want to note Venus is going to activate your 8th house of chunky money on Tuesday, add 3 weeks, and your chunky money story becomes more alive. And check out my Venus video for more on that Tuesday. She can definitely wealth you up. She can bring you more money. She doesn't mind doing that with Mercury there, co-present as Lord of your 4th house. Money from mom and dad, money from sale of property, money from a mortgage refi, money from tax rebates, money from something to do with a property sale, if I didn't say that, or a legacy wealth like an inheritance. So some of you could be looking at that kind of money picking up in the next 3 weeks. At the same time, well, I would mention that Venus does secret love affairs in the 8th house, so watch for that. You don't want to get yourself mucked up in a secret love affair. I mean, if it's an illegitimate, thing, right? If it's not, being a secret is a bad thing. And then finally, all week long, we kind of feel like, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through to Sunday, Monday, we feel this like, oh, it's almost perfect, but it's not quite there. It's good, but it's not great. As what happens is a sextile is trying to form between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, you still feel good about it. You just don't feel great about it. Geminis could say, I'm really establishing some significant long-range goals and plans and perseverant, dedicated results in my career and reputation space, Saturn in the 10th house. But at the same time, you are looking for a greater amount of bounty and success in your money that comes from foreign countries and foreign shores, and it's elusive. So it's almost like you're saying, wow, I'm doing really well in my career. I'm stable. I'm authoritative. I'm masterful. I'm reaching a mountain peak of success. And, Jupiter in the house of money from foreign borderless income isn't quite matching up that pace, right? Something's not quite right. I can relate a little bit. My ad revenue is a little bit lower in the last couple of months than normal, although I can't figure out why, because of my views are the norm. I think they changed the kinds of ads they're showing people or the kinds of people they're sharing my content with. So ask yourself where in your life you might be feeling good but not great about your career as it relates to maybe borderless income. On the other hand, Jupiter is also in the 12th house of self-undoing and addictions and bad habits, and he's there to shed some solution light into that part of the sky where you could find a guru, a teacher, a guide, a coach, a mentor to help you stop undoing yourself. And maybe Saturn is also connected to help you, like a career coach, Someone could really support you in making better career decisions that are positive for who you are. And you might be like getting almost the right person or the right situation to, finding a course, a learning, a teaching, a teacher for what it is you need to have better results in your career space and reputation space. But you don't quite stick the landing exactly the way you thought you could. So there you go. Could be a misfire, right? I think you're going to sign up with that coach or that class and it doesn't quite come to pass. And with Mars coming into visibility at the end of this week in your 8th house, it's more chunky money. It's more extreme success and change in regards to your tax structures, your 401k, your investments, your stock investments, and chunky money and inheritances and stuff like that. And this is where you really see a lot of thrival and intense positive direction over the next 2 years. You definitely want to check out the Mars webinar that I'm doing on the 25th, but you also want to definitely hit that notification bell and subscribe because you might miss that Mars rising video that's coming out on Thursday. And it is going to be a really important video. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. You're going to experience the energy here at the beginning of the week, of Venus going into the house of your significant other. This could be just some good news for your marriage partner or your business partner, like they're having a good news, or you're getting better outreach and popularity with your marketplace and audience and clients, all 7th house meanings. But this can be very lucky for your main squeeze, and they may have something good happen, like say they're looking for a job, they get it, say they, looking for some positive developments, and this is a breakthrough, lucky time for them. This starts on Tuesday, and you can add about 3 weeks as Venus goes through Capricorn. But on the other hand, you also notice that there's an almost but not quite goodness happening all week long, Tuesday through Sunday, as these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, try to form a sextile but never quite make it. You're wanting to see better results in the house of publications and travel to foreign destinations, and the house of your spiritual philosophy, and also studies, especially longer term studies or academics. And Jupiter in the house of your elder sibling, benefactors and allies, the house of people who want to help you. And maybe somebody wants to support something you're doing, like give you, I don't know, give you a recommendation to get into your favorite university, give you a contact with their book publishing agent or editor, because this is Saturn in the house of publications, but they don't follow through the way they said they would. Maybe you are experiencing a possibility of a greater career gain, a reputation boost here, or a greater amount of money from your 10th house, and it doesn't really fully materialize the way you want it, because Saturn here could say it's kind of constrained. It's not quite the way it could turn out, especially if that monetary career boost is reliant on 9th house matters, visas, right? Getting a visa to work somewhere, things to do with judges and courts, things to do with publications, and it does not quite gel. Sorry, that's what happens. Then we get to the fact that Mars will rise in your house of marriage, and that's, on the 27th. This could be interestingly good or bad. If you're in a bad relationship, marriage type relationship, or business partnership, it can actually cut it off and end it in the 2 years that follow this rising. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to scare you. I'm just going to give you real astrology, right? It's kind of a widower maker kind of energy as well. Mars here, if you're born with Mars in the 7th in ancient Hellenistic astrology, it can indicate you might become a soloist at one point, a widower or a widow. And it's kind of baking in that vibe. So for some of you, I'm just saying it could be even that kind of energy in the 2 years in which you're no longer with someone because of marriage-wise of their passing. But don't fret. Don't make that all about you. This is a general bell curve astrology. Your chart is specific to you. That said, Mars is exalted. He wants to do the bidding of Saturn in your 9th house. We won't cover that today. That's going to be in the very 2-hour all signs video coming out on Thursday. But definitely look at this as a sea change in your marriage and business partner house, as well as how you reach out to audience, marketplace, and clients. And if you're single looking for love, we bake in a Venus co-present, you might find an exalted marriage partner, a new kind of romance, a super powered romance coming your way when in the 2 years that follow. You'll have to watch the long video for that. I'm going to pause, grab some water, and we'll be right back. Okay, let's continue the narrative, and we're moving on to the next sign, which is going to be Leo. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit my notification bell and help this channel grow so that I can continue this amazing career. Alrighty. Here we are. So Let's take Leo into the narrative for the week of the 22nd to the 28th. So Leo, this is a story here where you can see that Venus will move her little bump, scooch her little essence into refined Capricorn part of your sky on Tuesday, the 23rd. She'll be there for 3 weeks. You might feel a super glow up in your health. Your sicknesses can be alleviated and your work can feel really fun. And you might feel really good about your work environment and also your work routines and your health routines as well. So 6th house matters take your attention here starting on Tuesday in a positive way. And certainly, I think if you're looking for a pet, oh my goodness, this is an ideal time as a Leo sun, moon, or rising to look for a pet because Venus here will make sure you have a beautiful, attractive, and friendly animal coming into your home. Venus is good for eliminating debt, paying off a credit card if you need to, and also securing a positive new lease or a lease agreement. And that's going to be here. She'll be here Tuesday and she'll be there for 3 weeks. Tuesday the 23rd, add 3 weeks. Then we see that there's an almost but not quite good, but not great flow between Saturn in your house of chunky money and passive income, royalty income, taxes, tax rebates, financing, mortgages, shared resources with a spouse or partner, and Jupiter in your house of career. I mean, something's going on here where you are killing it in the career. Jupiter at the top of the sky. You're popular. You're successful. You're lucky. Your bosses are loving you up and through to the 3rd week of May this year. And yet here Saturn wants to help. Saturn's in Jupiter's house. He's talking to Jupiter, trying to bring you greater financial goodness, perhaps, through what you're doing in your career. Now, this can look like in a career setting, like trying to get that sign-on bonus, severance package, ability to buy the stocks of the company even, or to generate passive income and revenue from something you're creating or doing in this online world kind of thing. And yet you're not quite getting it off the ground, or something's not quite happening. You're optimistic, you're perseverant, you're good-spirited, you're cautiously realistic and hopeful at the same time, and yet you don't quite get it to work all the way. So keep that in mind. It's not your fault. And you might feel a little bit of disappointment maybe about something you were hoping was going to have a big financial payoff from your career, and it may not do so. Or even if you were looking at a sign-on bonus, so I didn't say that, that could be like a disappointment in the amount of the sign-on bonus or the, whatever, or severance package. So then as we go through the week, we begin to see the Mars rising on Saturday, the 27th, as Mars will become more visible in our sky, actually, after being invisible for 4 months, last seen in 1977, rising in Capricorn. Now, your Capricorn part of your sky, where Venus is sitting here, is your work area of your life. And you're going to do very well, Leo, in the work environment. This is your daily work, the people you work with, your coworker space, very well with pets and small domestic animals, very well with lease agreements and tenancy agreements, very well with things to do with paying off any debts or karmic debts or real life debts, etc., or money owed to you coming back to you, money you owe others, things to do with that, being quite positive in the 2 years that follow this rising. But we'll do a deep dive video into that. The conjunction here of Mercury and Mars in itself can bring you some positive news with Venus co-present in a work situation. You find out you got the job you applied for, they want to hire you, you're surprised they want to hire you and pay you more than you thought. Those stories can happen as we see Mars rising in your 6th house in a flow to Uranus with Jupiter in your 10th. Look for evidence of those good things coming into the weekend through to the early part of next week, and we will do more of this in the Mars deep dive video. So please wait for that to come out on Thursday. It's going to be at least 2 hours long, and it's going to be very, very important. And Mars here, sometimes Mars brings conflict, but also severance and endings. If you end a job quits you, or someone in the job place quits, which is not impossible, coming through the end of this week into early next week, then it's going to benefit you at the end of the day greatly because of Venus co-present and because of the Jupiter-Uranus trine energy. All right. So professional changes in the work environment benefit you significantly. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. What we have going on is we have the energy of Venus on Tuesday entering into the sign of Capricorn, where she'll be for about 3 weeks. And this is going to enliven your romantic life. If you thought your sex life was dead and your romance was sucking, if you're looking for love and you haven't found it, well, certainly you could be in the 3 weeks that follow meeting someone, but also rejuvenating and enlivening the fun, the play, the joy, and the pleasure in your current romantic relationship. Also, creating peace and harmony with children, or good things happening for any of your children. Cautionary note for Virgos, this is a fertility transit. And with Jupiter in your ninth house, this is doubling down on a potential pregnancy for you or your partner. If that's something you want, that's wonderful. If you don't, be careful. And at the same time, I would say with Venus moving through your fifth house, any creative projects you wish to work on, or entrepreneurial or self-employment structures, things start to really gel and go in a positive direction for you here. As we move a little bit further here into the end of the week, we're going to notice, or middle of the week, kind of Tuesday, Wednesday through to Friday, this ongoing attempt by Saturn to move into a state of flow with Jupiter, as Jupiter engaging this from the ninth house. So they don't quite make a perfect sextile. So there's a bit of elusive disappointment or not quite perfect greatness that you could get here between things going on with your marriage type partner, your business partner, or your client space, customer, and audience, and what you wish to achieve when it comes to foreign shore travel, visas, passports, legal agreements, and court matters. Certainly for someone just dealing with court matters and wanting to finalize and end and stabilize a legal and court matter that requires negotiation, mediation, and deal making and settlements, there's almost getting to what you want, but not quite getting it. Also, if you want to travel, let's say Jupiter here definitely invites you to go off gallivanting to foreign places, and you're expecting that travel to look really good on you, and you're starting to feel like Wednesday through Sunday, yay, this is going to be amazing, and it's going to really help stabilize my relationship or something. It may not be exactly what you hoped for. A little disappointment, a little bit of a decompression or limitation here. Maybe your partner is heavy. You see, Saturn here is testing your main relationship, right? Your long-term love. And Saturn can be depressed or anxious here, or heavy or morbid or melancholic and cold and distant. And you may be finding your partner to be those things in, the Wednesday of this week through to early next week as a result of this non-forming sextile. And even Venus wants to sweeten the pot in a sextile to Saturn at the end of January. We'll be talking about that next week. But that part where Jupiter, Saturn try to collaborate, things don't quite pull off. If you're wanting to get a book publishing deal going, because that's the type of thing you're into, it doesn't quite gel. If you're trying to get some kind of perfect solution to an academic problem, that doesn't quite gel the way you had hoped it would. With Mars becoming visible in the sign of Capricorn, this is really important. Listen, I want to just say, if you're trying to get pregnant, I'm not liking this one for 2 years, Mars here, because Mars is usually the opposite of that. He's the guy who separates, and that means endings for like miscarriages or abortions and stuff like that. So let's keep that in mind. It may not be the best time for Virgo men or women, who are your Virgo man and your feminine egg-bearing partner wants to have children, or you are the female with the eggs in your ovaries and you want to have children, then you're going to maybe run into some obstacles. Now, on the other hand, I'm not sure, because Mars exalted here has not risen here since 1977 to 79. So I don't have a lot of data to compare it to. Mars here can really exalt your creativity, your entrepreneurial energy, your joy, your fun, your play, your pleasure. You'd be more active, more athletic, more robustly passionate about your romance life over the next 2 years. We're going to dive deeply into that as we go into the All Signs Mars Rising video on Thursday. So please make sure you don't miss that video. And my Mars webinar, only $14, is coming up on Thursday night, and you might want to attend that as well. Okay, let's get going into the next sign of Libra. So Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. What we would say here is that Venus is angular, moving into your fourth house, starting on Tuesday, add 3 weeks, Capricorn fourth house, opening up a time of great enjoyment and pleasure in your home, but also an opportunity to beautify your home, to redesign your home, to decorate your home, to have a female visit your home. But also another thing about this is it could be really good for buying and selling and renting property, especially as at the end of the month, Venus will sextile Saturn in the house of rental. So those things are all very positive for you. With Venus here too, you might be very much wanting to just enjoy the pleasures of your quiet, private, domestic life. You're going to be pulled away from the public eye and wanting to spend more time enjoying your privacy. Starting on the 23rd, add 3 weeks. Now we see that there is this energy trying to happen, Wednesday through Sunday, between Saturn and Jupiter. The work that you're stable, you're perseverant, you're working hard, you're grinding, by the way, a bit in your work life until 2026. Because you want results, right? Be careful for your health. You can burn out with this. And yet Jupiter wants to give you the financial reward from some long-term grinding gains that you're trying to create. And this week you think you could pull it off a bit. Like, I can really make this work. Okay, there's so many ways it could work. Jupiter could give you a chunk of money from a payout situation like insurance, or some money coming from some situation to do with an inheritance, or money coming from a situation to do with refinancing. And Saturn wants to stabilize your debts and equalize and balance and, make things more realistic regards money that is owed to you or that you owe, for example. And he's also in the house of rentals, but you don't get the full Monty. There's something that doesn't quite work. And so you don't quite gel here. You get some results, but not every result that you want in this area. You might feel disappointed. It's not your fault. It's just the sky. That's my humble opinion. Then Mars, he will become visible on Saturday the 27th, initiating a 2-year cycle of change in your 4th house of home, property, real estate. Some of you may expat out, move to a foreign country, exile yourself from your homeland. Some of you might build or construct a new home. Some of you may dramatically change where you live and your home. This is stuff that's going to impact you over 2 years. At the same time, just this week, as Mars and Mercury are co-joined on Saturday, news or information or contracts or negotiations and deals to do with property, land, home, real estate, mortgages and refinances, debts to do with land, inheritance matters are very much stimulated Saturday through to Monday, as you get some, or even it could be like Thursday through to Monday, as you get that energy really, really activating between Mercury and Mars in the 4th house of your property, home, and real estate, part of your sky. Certainly with Venus there, who can rule good outcomes. This is a great time to put a property in the market, to finalize the sale of a property. And as I said, to renegotiate financing, to do with land and property, or to finalize or work on some kind of inheritance legalities. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. What happens is that Venus is going to start this week on Tuesday by moving into the sign of Capricorn, giving you a glow up for short-term travel and short distance travel, things to do with your local neighborhood, like joining the pubs, the restaurants, the friends, the neighbors, the hood. As my friend Adam Ellenbus says, the fishbowl you swim in gets very pleasant, right? Your daily life, the places you go, the people you see, the stores you shop in gets very pleasant for 3 weeks. Pleasing and pleasant and pleasurable, starting on Tuesday. This is also going to open up the possibility of some enjoyment of a younger sibling and cousins as well, and social times with them. This is also going to perhaps open up some opportunities for some kind of writing projects to be very successful, some kind of online social media things to give you some popularity, appeal, maybe even some virility, because eventually Venus will trine Uranus in the house of the marketplace and the audience in this 3-week tourney, and you could go viral on something that you put into the world on the online space. Now, the other thing that happens, Scorpio, is that if you want to use this Venus in order to launch a new writing or creative project that involves ideas, this is a good onset point for success. So you can use it proactively. And as well, we can see that there's an almost sextile between Saturn and Jupiter that does not perfect, and that's your 5th house of children and romance, and your 7th house of long-term committed business and love partners, or a creative project you're working on. You want to get to the audience and marketplace, but it doesn't quite happen. You're working hard to be creative, entrepreneurial success. You're working hard, Saturn, to stabilize your relationship with your children, or your romantic life is kind of dampened a bit as Saturn goes through here because you're busy with other things. Saturn wants to, however, work with your marriage partner, work with your business partner to create some positive flow, and you can't quite feel the love or the juice here. Your partner in love may have a very positive kind of good things happening in their life over the next 2 years. Over the next 6 months as Jupiter transits through your 7th house. And then Saturn is like, in this week ahead, starting Wednesday through Sunday, whatever's going on with your partner may be at odds with something you're busy doing in the 5th house, managing the children, creating an entrepreneurial business, doing some creative projects, especially with Venus coming into that sextile to Saturn near the end of January. You don't quite get the experience here of your partner or your love or business partner's full buy-in, and there's a little bit of disappointment that maybe they're not as enthused by your success as you are enthused about theirs or your own. Just some kind of trying to make something good happen here, but not quite feeling the love. And lastly, Mars moving into your Capricorn part of your sky, rising here on the 27th, gives you a 2-year window of success in writing projects, social media land, short distance travel, success in your local neighborhood. Certainly, it's really also very good for a new renewal of a relationship with a younger sibling, and or if there's something going on that you want to achieve with a younger sibling, Mars here can give you the passion, drive, and willpower to do that, maybe even be collaborative. Or if you need to separate out from a younger sibling because the relationship isn't the one for you, this is also going to be very positive. Don't forget to check that webinar on Thursday, guys. It's the description box below. It's super cheap. It's $14. It's going to be a very powerful deep dive. But also, don't forget, Thursday, a video will be coming out on the Mars rising as well. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Here we have Venus moving into the sign of Capricorn, which means she's going to love your money up. You're going to get more earnings gains, possessions and wealth kind of vibe. Your savings can increase, or you could spend on something refined and luxurious that you really want to get, especially with Mercury there. This could be finding the perfect deal for the most refined sofa, beautiful car, something you want to purchase can happen in a very easy and positive way. Yeah, between the 23rd of the month of January at about 3 weeks. It's also giving your eloquence, speech and eloquence and a refinement. It's good for speaking out loud, getting in front of people with Mercury to talk in a passionate way about something you want to speak into the world. It's really good for speakers during this time, especially. As we move into the middle of the week, Wednesday through about Sunday, you get that close but not quite sextile between Saturn in your 4th house of property and real estate and Jupiter in your 6th house of pets and tenancies. And this is very much looking like, for some Sagittarius, an attempt to rent a property out as a tenant landlord or to lease a property as a tenant and not quite getting the thing to jive. Maybe also bring a pet home, but that's the wrong pet, the wrong color, the wrong breeder. You're not quite gelling here. Maybe things as well, Sagittarius, to do with your work and health routines, which you're improving in the next 6 months, not quite gelling with something going on in the home, which feels hard, and you wanted to smooth it out, sextile, but it's just not quite smooth enough. What feels hard in your home? Are you lonely? Are you anxious? Are you depressed? Are you housing an elder right now? Are you just finding the home life to be kind of isolating? And yet you're also trying to smooth that out with Jupiter in the 6th house this week, maybe getting that perfect pet to keep you company, maybe moving into an alignment with better work environments or something, maybe getting out of working in the home because it's depressing you and something's just not quite coming together. As you move towards this Mars rising in your 2nd house on the 27th, it will initiate a 2-year window of increase in your finances positively through money that you particularly earn. You're making money. You're not getting money gifted to you. You're earning it. As earned income does increase over the next 2 years in a significant way. Yay, you, yay, Mars. Haven't seen this since 1977 to 79. This is baking in the same energy. January of 27th of January 27th, 2024 at 2 years. You might also, with Mars rising here, develop an amazing voice. If you're a singer, for example, or a speaker, you might, with Mars rising here, also be able to fix your teeth, jaw, or face surgically over the next 2 years if that's something you need to have done. Now, we're not going to, and you can also eliminate all the bad foods that you've been eating that aren't good for you, including substances that are addictive, and completely clear your system of that over the next 2 years. Now, we're going to do a Mars rising video on Thursday coming out, plus a webinar Thursday night. Check my description box for all of that. If you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll know when those videos are coming out. You definitely don't want to miss that stuff. Oh, and specifically on Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you might get some kind of email, phone call, or news about an opportunity, financial opportunity that's very good for you. So pay attention to that as well. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Here we have the energy in the heavens of Mars. Of Venus on Tuesday, the 23rd, moving into Capricorn. This is owning you in a beautiful way. You get her love and appreciation as she can make you more beautiful, refined, popular, charismatic and charming. It's really great time for you to get a new haircut, a new wardrobe, to improve your appearance in a very easy and effective way. Between the 23rd, add 6 months. I mean, add 3 weeks, add 3 weeks. And also, I always say do the big ask. When Venus is moving through the house of your identity, your rising sign especially, it's time to ask for what you want. Ask for the raise, the promotion, ask your lover for what you need, ask your children for what you want. Just get the asks out there. You might get the yeses. You probably will. It's almost like you have a charm offensive. And then we move into the next part of the story, and that is this. You can say that we would love to see greatness, but we're getting good only when Saturn and Jupiter are trying to sextile, but they don't make a full sextile. What is it you really like to achieve and stabilize, to do with sibling relationships, especially younger, things going on in the local neighborhood, things going on with your writing projects, things going on with your social media projects, learning environments, or even travel environments, short distance travel. There's some compression here around short distance travel with Saturn in this part of your sky, for example. And yet Jupiter's trying to sweeten the deal by bringing pleasure travel, leisure travel, fun travel, romantic travel, or learning something you're naturally gifted at and really drilling into it, or so signing up for a course or a hobby, or something Jupiter would like you to do to expand your relationship with your romantic partner or children, again, through third house means, communication, travel, writing. And, it doesn't really quite come together this week. You want it to, but, maybe Tuesday through Sunday, you don't quite see the results you were hoping for. All right, so just be aware of that. And then though Mars will rise, of course, in the house of you, this is a very powerful time for your own willpower, ambition, success, you being heroically decisive and effectively action taking in the direction of your goals over the next 2 years. It starts on the 27th of January. You last saw this in January of 1977, so therefore you don't have a modern day reference, but it would have impacted you for 2 years after that as well in a very powerful way. It's different this time for many reasons, particularly the placement of Uranus, who is offering you some unexpected money luck and surprises that way that can really glow you up after the 27th of the month. Also, maybe some surprises regarding your children. They could invite in news of a grandchild on the way. Also, some really positive developments in your entrepreneurial or independent business if you're somebody trying to make their way in the world. And that could open up opportunities for you, not just over the 2 years, but perhaps with this guy, over the next possible 3 or 4 weeks post January 27th. I'm going to be doing a deep dive video into how this can play out for each sign. It'll probably be 2 hours long. So you might want to definitely hit that bell to notify yourself or subscribe so you don't miss that video coming out this Thursday or so. And you could be the bearer of news here, right? Ambitiously delivering the news that's fit to print in order to, push something out into the world. You could be, delivering news to your children, to your romantic partner, to your business, to your entrepreneurial environment coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Be nice at the end of the week, like Saturday, Sunday, if you can, to your significant other, because that Mars sword, exalted Mercury communication, facing another person, could have sharp words with a business or love partner. And be careful with the sword in your hand here. The word sword could be very harsh as it opposes the house of significant relationships. All righty, Aquarius. I am one of you. Sun, moon, and rising as well. I'm a rising. So what happens is that the beginning of the week on Tuesday, Venus enters into Capricorn and can really open up an incredible energy around enjoying your private domestic bed pleasure type things, more sensuality in your romantic privacy of your boudoir, more enjoyment of things that are pleasures in your life that you do in private, whatever that means. But it's kind of refinement too, right? She's in a sign of refinement and austerity. It's Capricorn's house. And she does flow later in the month to Saturn. So this is very good for Saturn in your house of your money. I mean, in your food and food style. Very good for a lot of us Aquariuses to come into a place of ultimate moderation, like my book that I'm writing one day, The Wine Lover's Middle Way. I have the domain, that flow between pleasure-seeking Venus and the house of addictions and self-sabotage flowing to Saturn holding fort in your second house of what you ingest through your mouth is very positive for you. It's also very good for perhaps getting some dental work done or jaw or facial work done. Saturn is trying to stabilize things to do with your teeth, for example, and Venus is bringing beauty to the story. Now, on the other hand, your earnings belong to the second house too, and Venus is going to begin to flow to that second house from the house of foreign shore land and revenue. And something about the 23rd, add 3 weeks, 23rd of January, 3 weeks, can really increase your revenue from foreign shores, foreign lands, borderless income, international companies, barter trade, etc., import, export, if that's something you do. And she does flow to Saturn, stabilizing your money through hard work and savings and cautionary spending. And that's something you're working with anyway until 2026. Cautionary spending and savings are on your docket. Now, also, we can see that you kind of almost get this yay you moment, but it doesn't quite fruit between Saturn, right, squaring Jupiter. Sextiling Jupiter, Saturn, money, earnings, savings, possessions, food style, what you ingest in your mouth, and Jupiter, expansion and growth in the fourth house of property, home, and real estate. This could have looked like a desire to purchase a property, to purchase something for your home, that's bounteous and expansive. But it didn't quite come together this week, no problem. Wednesday through Sunday, something's trying to happen. It doesn't quite happen. And if you wanted to buy something for your home or even a new vehicle, sometimes that can be a vehicle, that's just not going to really gel this week. Things to do with being prosperous in and from the home, as you're not as prosperous as you hoped, right? I work from home, I teach from home, I do videos from home. The prosperity isn't as much as I would have liked. So I can feel the sense of disappointment perhaps in my prosperity quotient this week ahead. So can you. Then we see Mars rising into the 12th house. This can bring enlightenment-y stuff to you over the 2 years that follow. Go back to 1977, add 2 years, January. You can also get more travel or moves to foreign lands. That time of 77 to 79, I traveled to Mexico City and Acapulco, and I was a little, teenager, and my first time out of my country, and it ignited my love of foreign travel and foreign culture experiences. You could also say that with this Mars rising here, especially with Mercury, you're going to get some kind of news coming through the story, especially acutely, like on the weekend, maybe Thursday through Monday this coming week. Some kind of news, information coming from something to do with 12th house matters. Now, that is hospitals, I have to say, and places where people are isolated, like jails and hospitals, places of isolation. And Mars is, cutting and ending, and Mercury is news, and Venus is a female. So there's a potential for a female. This would not be a child or a parent. This is more like a lateral relationship. News of a female in a hospital setting, maybe Wednesday or Thursday through to Sunday, just as an acute thing. But Mars rising here can bring incredible amounts of excessive financial success. As an Aquarius person, I would love that in anything to do with borderless income, international revenue, but also lots and lots of travel to foreign places. I might have a chance to spend time in Shanghai. So that could be what that is. Now, your own sky is your own unique sky, but 12th house matters will flourish over the 2 years that follow this January. You're going to want to watch my deep dive video that's coming out on Thursday, join my webinar, and certainly download the meanings of the 12th houses PDF freebie under my description box for all of you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And then finally, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. So first of all, Venus, who exalts you, she's the exaltation planet for you. She happens to be moving into your house of good spirit on Tuesday, and she'll be here for 3 weeks. This is like she could give you favors from females and favors from elder siblings, good luck in your gains, increasing your financial revenue from your career path, elder siblings benefiting you, especially financially. You can also say that when she's up here, you could join groups of belonging that are new, friendship groups, of social groups of allies and friendships that are new to you, and you're going to excitingly enjoy it. And there's also something fresh about it, right? She's a whole sign trine to Uranus. So exciting, innovative, rebellious, freedom-loving energies of some new associations and groups, maybe in the local or online neighborhood. And now as you move towards the energy of Venus, well, no, so I want to say more about Venus. So we're going to stop with Venus. She does flow to your ascendant, giving you more vitality and a general overall sense of well-being, but through the enlivenment usually of other people. It's really good for getting on a podcast or going on a YouTube video with somebody or getting some public exposure, a little bit of micro celebrity kind of vibe in the week, not only this week, Tuesday, but the 3 weeks that follow. There's a trying to happen, but not quite happening flow between Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn is making you, starting last March through to February of 2026, when it's a done deal, more realistic, sober-minded, more cautious, more perseverant, and more sober-minded. Real, it's like kind of you're carrying the mantle of the sage energy right now, and you're stabilizing your identity with that. And you're also trying to make your dreams come true. And the backdrop of that, this week, there's an attempt, but it doesn't quite happen for that part of you that's becoming sagicity, sage, Saturn, that part of you to hook up with Jupiter in your third house. It's like you might have a possibility for a short trip that doesn't quite gel this week, Wednesday through Sunday, or an online opportunity that doesn't quite come to pass, or some kind of connection to a younger sibling as well that doesn't fruit the way it should. Something going on in the local neighborhood that would bring you bounty and joy, but it doesn't come to pass. Some writing project that fails to launch. These sorts of feelings are here for you just, Wednesday through Sunday. Some good things are happening. You can be very dedicated and perseverant around organizing a trip, connecting to a younger sibling, getting a writing project started or done, or those sorts of things. But the results are a little bit less than magnificent. Okay. And then finally, Mars will rise into the visible sky and do so on the 27th of the month and of January. And this opens up a door for you. And the door is like already over the next 2 years, January 2024 at 2 years, 24 months, there's a general sense of all things good going on in your 11th house. Now you may cut away from some social groups and larger groups of belonging, some tribal affiliations and networks that you have. You may also have a severing with an elder sibling relationship. If that happens, it's all good. Mars is pruning, cutting the dead wood. He's making it stronger. You're stronger because of it. On the other hand, passionate directional engagement. This is the movement maker position for Mars in the 11th house. What movement are you championing? What heroic measures are you taking that influence the larger collective and your groups of belonging, etc.? On a shorter note, that Mercury conjunct Mars that's really beginning to form Wednesday through Sunday, it does form in the middle of all of that on the 27th. That's news from a big sibling, news from an ally or benefactor who acts like an elder sibling coming through the transom of your reality on a phone call, email, text message, or something like that. That's going to be very beneficial for you. On the other hand, too, this energy in the long 2-year arc of Mars Mercury, that's very commercial success energy there, especially because there's a trine to Jupiter. And so you're going to be more prosperous in the gains from your career and a sense of a business enterprise being very successful for many of you Cancers. Pisces, in the 2 years that follow this December 27th, Saturday, heliacal rise of Mars. Again, I'm keep directing people to the webinar on Thursday night. This week, I keep directing you to listen for the video coming out Thursday with the deep dive of Mars rising in the sign of Capricorn. Alrighty, get ready for that video to come out very, very soon on Thursday. Big hugs to all of my regulars. Thanks for listening. I'm recording in Vancouver, Canada for my Patreon community on January 21st. They get this stuff early access ad-free. Sometimes they get this video that I'm giving you on Friday or Saturday, but I've been traveling, so they're getting it on Sunday, and you guys in the public get it on Monday. Sorry for the grainy quality here. I'm getting low light at the end of the day in Vancouver, Canada, but I'm doing my best. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.